know. But you start with the elders first, the oldest ones first. Let
Okay.
them know. Say, you 72 years old. You getting up in age. I want to come take you out to dinner. I want you to tell me about your life.
Okay. Okay.
You know, cook dinner for them. Invite them over or something for the weekend. Spend some time with them. You know, this is how we train the priestesses to talk to the elders in order to cultivate those family bonds so that they can teach the other priestesses coming behind them to be even better than they was.
Okay.
Right? 'Cause it's a progressive build, and then all of a sudden they took all of our notes and we had to freestyle it until one of us figured it out. So I'm telling you exactly how to do it.
All right. All right.
Right. And then always follow what you feel while you doing it because that's the spirit telling you what adds on to it for the betterment of the greater good of the family. So you getting the knocks from the mother line, which was that your grandmother that you say you don't get along with or your mother?
It's my grandmother because of my mother. My mother. She says I'm like her favorite or whatever. She has a thing with my mother, and I just love my mother so much. Like anybody that got a problem with my mother, I don't know. I don't mess
Okay,
with her.
that's right there. That's like somebody getting between a discrepancy between you and your mother.
Right. I know. It's not my business, right?
It's your business to a certain degree.
Okay. Okay.
That still you still have to learn the elders.
Okay.
You just don't take sides. If you know which one of them right, you tell them they right. You know which one of them wrong, you tell them they wrong. And other than that, leave me out of it.
I gotta
If
work
you
on
don't
it.
want to know who, if you don't want to know who right or wrong, don't ask me.
All
If y'all
right.
just want to bicker, then y'all just keep bickering because that's your relationship. Because that's how some people get along by bickering with each other.
I see.
And,
Yeah.
and yeah, and other people not supposed to get in that shit.
All right. Yeah. I can't.
Uh, my mama and my big sister bickered for years, but I bet you if anybody did want something to end one of them, the other one gonna be there so goddamn quick you think lightning struck.
Exactly. That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just got a hard relationship. They hard relationship comes from two strong people that's almost exactly alike, and they don't like to see themselves in the other person.
Exactly. Yep. All right.
Yeah. And you definitely don't want to take sides in that because when they realize they exactly alike, then they both gonna be looking at you like, why you take sides?
It makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
You
thank
got
you.
it?
Yep. I
You
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Okay. I'll talk to you later. I gotta take in Christina now.
Alrighty.
Okay. So
What?
I'm gonna start off by doing some invites to this video and let some people get in here because I want to talk about the concept of self-love and how you express it to yourself varies according to your level. And there's different levels in which you can express the love of the self. So from the mind of the master, a master, for there are many. From the mind of a master, meaning one who raised himself up from the gutter into the level of unraveling the riddle that was the mystery of the ages. In order to do so, along the path, we encounter people that have good hearts, that are deserving to be rewarded for their portion in the raising of the self. So they earn um, what they work for in order to aid you. So I'm going to do a couple more invites here, and I'm going to be done with that. So no man of his own can attain to infinite wisdom without a certain type of inspiration within himself. This inspiration has to be rooted in the positive self-esteem and a belief in the self that you can accomplish something so superhuman, so to speak, so all-encompassing. You have to believe that if nobody else on this planet can do it, you can do it. Self-confidence is required. Where there is no self-love, there is no self-confidence. Because you can't believe in yourself if you don't love yourself. So the master knows this. The master knows that as he walks his journey and he finds those that he raised along the way, whether they are knowing or unknowing, the alchemists convert energy in order to turn the negative into the positive. And according to your works, you are rewarded. So, if a person of royal standing is to give his word, if you participate in me finding myself to the level I request of you, I will reward you with this thing at the end. That is the agreement. In self-love, royalty honors that because that person performed their function. If you do not honor your word, you can't love yourself. And so your word becomes binding upon agreement. And this is why you make no agreement without a full and competent understanding. This is how we got tricked into the deceptive contract that held us in bondage until now. But the terms of the contract have been met. And we, the indigenous people of this land, have reclaimed our heritage and our right. And I hold first claim of right by baptismal right and by work and effort and suffering and sacrifice. None of those things would be possible if I did not love myself first. Because you have to love yourself enough to be unconditional when you share what you become. You have to be unconditional when you share what you become. Because at that point, there's no selfishness attached to your expressions of love. Selfishness is rooted in the ego. But the open expression and reward that comes with the love of self being shared to those who are worthy by works and by suffering to receive that love, they should have the opportunity to claim their reward. That's the highest self sense of honor of self and love of self, if you consider yourself to be of the royal lines. We don't get into I love you for me scenarios because the universe don't work like that. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered, and it's not craving of attention. So when the balance of the universe is found in a physical form, it has earned a right to reap a certain reward for effort. So you balance the internal expressions of love with the external lens in which you can view it. So a guy see a chick, she's pleasing to the eye. That don't mean that he's gonna love her. The amount of love he got in himself is going to be reflected in the amount of himself he see in her as a unit, balancing out masculine and feminine. Keeping these in harmony within the self will allow him to see her best qualities as divine, feminine, masculine, the exact polar opposite of the self. And knowing that she has endured her suffering and she's performed her works, and she has become more than what she was by effort, pulling herself up by her bootstraps, he should know then that she is worthy to receive him giving of himself in its totality. The greatest form of that self-expression of love is to freely give it to those who deserve it. And those who don't, they shouldn't have it. But you still have to give them enough of it to understand that it's worth being part of that kingdom of righteousness that subsists off the love, that unconditional love, like a mother for a child and a child for his mother. We tend to forget that with great wisdom comes great struggle, and through the struggle we learn many things. The pride in the self, when positively produced by achievement, becomes the fervor of the love of the self. It's the emotive reflection of what's deeper within. You can't love externally before you can learn internally. If you are a fractured love being on the inside, then you will give fractured love to the outside. So you have to heal yourself first. At what point, once you went inside and dealt with your inner conflict, walk across the burning sand, so to speak. Face all of those dark corners of the mind that nobody else dare venture, in order to move the alchemy in the proper synthesis. But just because the master set a thing in a particular pattern, masters do things for effect on the self and effect on others, in order to continue the growth process. Think not the mind of man can encompass the mind of the masters, but think not that the mind of the masters can encompass the mind of God, for she is infinite. We understand the structure. We understand the position of the woman. In our culture, this is a non-female oppressive system. This is a protect the children first at all cost system. This is a don't feed our baby to the wolves system. That's what we was under before they came. And they know who they are. So they're going to have to bring the paperwork out. They're not going to be able to keep it concealed. And we're going to get this all straightened out. But think not, because the external expression is visible, that the internal presence is not there. Because love is love that comes from within the heart. And it is from within the heart that it radiates out. And that the marriage takes place. But everything for an effect. And every effect for a cause. And every cause for a final solution. We have to understand this. Just because it looked like the drunk man stumbled does not mean drunk men fall. The wisdom of the ages has its way of getting effect. And sometimes the effect is to have his brethren push the other button to move him to the next level in order that things perform exactly as planned. And sometimes the people in the physical world only understand the physical representation of what the spiritual thing really is. So we have to draw an alignment, a balancing of the physical with the spiritual, a sacred union of heaven and earth. Keep forgetting that we not new to this, but everything has to be done in a particular format in order that each effect is affected effectively. The march The merge is going to be successful. It already is. Everything for an effect. Every button triggers a switch, and every switch pushes a button. Eventually, you run out, and you're at your destination. So, with that button being pushed, there flips a switch, and so the marathon continues, and we keep going, guerrilla style. God, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Bully, calling from Texas. All right, so my question to you, I was just watching one of your videos earlier. I've been on you for about a year, and a partner of mine sent me. He was like, "Man, you heard this Ryan Hayes guy?" I'm like, "Who is that?" Sent me one of your videos. I said, "Man, you know what? I did see this guy about a year ago. You were talking about Yubaru and so on and so forth, and another the information you were talking about." Larry Hoover being the chief of the land. And so I was like, I never heard this type of stuff before. But truth needs no support. The video that I saw earlier, you were talking about how Atlantis didn't sink, it went up in the sky. Can you explain that?
Wait a minute, say it again.
In the video that I was watching earlier, you were speaking on how Atlantis didn't sink, it went up in the sky. Can you break that down, unpack that?
So, you know when you read about the Crystal City in Revelations returning to Earth?
Okay.
It's returning to Earth.
The Crystal City.
The Crystal City. The Crystal City was the capital. It was actually not the capital, but it was like the storehouse of the wealth of the land.
Okay.
And it was designed to fly away in case of a time when we get taken over by a foreign force trying to seize the wealth. When they came looking for the Crystal City, they knew it was filled with gold. Had gold doors, everything. They called it Cordoba, the city of gold. This is what they was looking for when they came over here.
Okay.
This is when they was going on a murderous rampage in the islands in the northern part of South America, where Cortez's army, right? They was killing any chief that wouldn't tell them how to find the city of gold. So they was just killing every chief because none of them didn't know where it was at because it flew away. So they cut their way through forests, found old relics of pyramids and remnant cities from the old Atlant that was no longer occupied, and they thought that they would find the city of gold.
Indiana Jones.
So when you go to look it up, you look up Cortez and the city of gold. The Pirates of the Caribbean was the gold that they took from the reigning chiefs. They hid it on Puerto Rico, the rich port. It's where all of the pirates agreed not to rob from each other. Code of thieves.
No honor amongst thieves. That what?
Right.
Okay.
But they really got a code they live by. They don't live by the honor code, but they got a code. Right? When they sign a contract, this is Uniform Commercial Code now. They signing a contract. And the purpose of the contract is to keep them honest. This is why they got us doing paperwork. But they also can reverse the paperwork to trick you into a trap.
Gotcha. You spoke on Babylonian, and I'm gonna get out the Babylonian blood ritual, right? And so I went and looked it up. Like as you speaking on it, I went and looked it up because I'm like, I know you reference everything, and it was there. Do you see any correlation since that was the time the biblical the Bible was set between that and the ritual of drinking the blood of Christ?
The ritual of what?
Okay, the Babylonian blood ritual. Is there any correlation between that and the ritual of taking in the blood of Christ?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100% directly correlated to that's where it came from. Right? The energy is harvested through the intention. If your intention is to cannibalize the Savior and drink his blood, vampires. Right?
Right.
So now you put the intention to kill God in the universe and eat them. Jupiter ate his babies, remember?
Right. Okay.
All right. But at some point, he got punished for it. Right. So they use that to deceive the masses.
Go ahead.
If you don't know where you're being led, you're automatically being led to slaughter.
True that.
If you don't know who your leadership is, anybody can lead you. All they got to do is look like they official.
True. That's why you got to listen.
But when you know who the leaders is, you can see clearly the imposter because you know your customs and traditions are not matching with who they telling you the leaders is. Our custom is the most loved, most respected, who do the most benevolent works in the community and with the most other chieftains gets the highest rank. The highest ranked matriarch is the matriarch that runs the land. The women are the lawgivers. We enforce that shit.
So
when they call me to do the work, I have to change the position to put the rightful people in the rightful place so that the shit can run like it's supposed to run.
Hey, look, this just confirmed one of my hunches, you know what I'm saying, that I had. I was just making that correlation. You know what I mean? We break it down Atlas and, you know, how he had to hold up the heavens. And so, you know, as they say, as above, so below, and that it's really waters, you know, above as well, you know, as on earth, man. So it's just a lot of deep knowledge, man. I'm gonna keep tapping into you, bro. And man, I appreciate you.
All right. I'll talk to you later, God.
100.
100.